Sai Satcharitha, Chapter 31. The Passing Away in Baba's Presence of Story number 1. Sannyasi Vijayanand. Story number 2. Balram Mankar. Story number 3. Nulkar. Story number 4. Megha. And story number 5. The Tiger. In this chapter, Hemant describes the passing away of this certain persons and a tiger in Baba's presence. Preliminary. The last wish or thought that a man has at the hour of death determines his future course. Sri Krishna has said in Gita, that is via 8:5-6, that he who remembers me in his last moments comes verily to me, and he that meditates otherwise at the time goes to what he looks for. We cannot be certain that we can entertain a particular good thought at our last moment, for more often than not, we are more likely to be frightened and terrified by many causes. Hence, constant practice is necessary for enabling us to fix our mind on an desired good thought at any or last moment. All saints, therefore, recommend us to always remember God and chant His name always, so that we may not be puzzled when the time of departure comes. The devotees, on their part, surrender themselves completely to the saints, fully believing that all-knowing saints would guide them and help them in their last moments. A few such cases were noted here. Number 1. Vijayanand. A Madrasi sannyasi named Vijayanand started on a pilgrimage to Manasarovar. En route, hearing Baba's fame, he halted at Shirdi. There he met one Somadevaji Swami of Haridwar and inquired of him about the particulars of the Manasarovar trip. The Swami told him that the Sarovar was 500 miles above the Gangotri and described to him the difficulties of the journey via plenty of snow and the change of dialect every 50 kilometers and the suspicious nature of the people of Bhutan who give a lot of trouble to the pilgrims on the way. Hearing this, the sannyasi was dejected and cancelled the trip. Then he went to Baba and prostrated himself before him. Baba got enraged and said, "Drive out this useless sannyasi, his company is of no use." The sannyasi did not know Baba's nature. He felt discomforted, but sat there watching things that were going on. It was the morning darbar and the masjid was overcrowded. Baba was being worshipped in various ways. Some were washing his feet, some taking the teeth, that is the holy water, from his toe and drinking it heartily, and some touching their eyes with it. Some were applying sandal paste and some scents to his body. And all were doing these things forgetting the distinction of caste and creed. Though Baba got enraged with him, he was filled with affection for Baba and he did not like to leave the place. He stayed in Shirdi for 2 days when he got a letter from Madras stating that his mother was very ill. He felt very dejected and wanted to be his mother's side, but he could not leave without Baba's permission. So he saw Baba with the letter in hand and asked his permission to return home. The omniscient Baba, knowing the future, said to him, "If you so loved your mother, why did you take sannyasa? Fondness or attachment ill becomes an orgram or kragram. Go and sit quiet at your lodging. Wait with patience for a few days. In the Vada, there are many robbers. Bolt your doors. Be very vigilant. The thieves will carry everything. Wealth and prosperity are transient, and the body is subject to decay and death. Knowing this, do your duty, leaving all attachment to the things of this world and next. He who does this and surrenders himself to the feet of Hari, that is the Lord, will get free from all troubles and attain bliss. The Lord runs and helps him who remembers and meditates on him with love and affection. Your store of past merits is considerable, so you have come here. Now attend to what I say and realize the end of your life. Being desireless, begin from tomorrow the study of Bhagavad. Uh, do 3 saptahas, that is 3 reading during the weeks, conscientiously. The Lord will be pleased with you and destroy your sorrows. Your illusions will vanish and you will get peace. Seeing this, that his end was approaching, Baba prescribed that remedy and made him read Rama Vijaya, which pleases the god of death. Next morning, after bathing and other purifying rites, he commenced to read Bhagavat in a secluded part in the lengthy garden. He completed 2 readings and thereafter felt much exhausted. He returned to the Vada and stayed in his lodging for 2 days, and on the third day he breathed his last on Fakir, that is Baba's lap. Baba asked the people to preserve the body for a day for a good reason. The police afterwards came and, on making proper inquiries, gave permission for the disposal of the body. It was buried in a proper place and with the due rites. In this way, Baba helped the sannyasi and ensured him Sadgati, that is salvation. Let us go to the story of Balram Mankar. There was a householder devotee of Baba by name Balram Mankar. When his wife passed away, he got rejected and entrusting his household to his son, left his home and came to Shirdi and lived with Baba. Being pleased with his devotion, Baba wanted to give him good turn to his life and did this in his way. He gave him rupees 12 and asked him to go and live in Machindragarh, that is district of Satara. Mankar was first unwilling to go and stay away from Baba, but Baba convinced him that he was giving the best course for him and asked him to practice meditation thrice a day or on the Gad. Believing in Baba's words, Mankar came to the Gad. He was much pleased with the lovely sight, pure water, healthy air, and surroundings of the place, and began to practice assiduously the meditations as recommended by Baba. After some days, he got a revelation. Generally, bhaktas get revelation in their samadhi or trance states, but in Mankar's case, he got it when he came down into his ordinary consciousness from his trance. Baba appeared to him in person. Not only that, Mankar saw him, he also asked him why he was sent there. Baba replied, in Shirdi, many thoughts and ideas began to rise in your mind, and I sent you here to rest your unsteady mind. You thought that I was in Shirdi with a body composed of 5 elements and 3.5 cubits in length and not outside of it. Now you see and determine for yourself whether the person you see here now is the same that you saw in Shirdi. It is for the reason that I sent you here. Then, after that period was over, Mankar left the Gada and proceeded to his native place, Bandra. He wanted to travel by rail from Pune to Dadar, but when he went to the booking office to get a ticket, he found it very much crowded. He could not get his ticket soon when a villager with a langoti, that is a piece of cloth, on his waist and kambali on his shoulder turned up and said, where are you going? To Dadar, replied Mankar. Then he said, please take this Dadar ticket of mine. As I have some urgent business here, I have cancelled my Dadar trip. Mankar was very glad to receive the ticket and was just taking out the money from his pocket when the rustic disappeared in the crowd. Mankar tried to find him out in the crowd, but it was vain. He waited for him till the train left the station, but found no trace of him. This was second revelation Mankar got in strange form. When Mankar, after visiting his home, again returned to Shirdi and remained there in Baba's feet, always following his biddings and advice. In the end, he was very fortunate to leave this world in the presence and with the blessings of Baba. Now let us go to the story number 3, Tata Sahib Nulkar. Hemant Pant gives no particulars regarding Tata Sahib Nulkar except the bare mention of the fact that he up his ghost in Shirdi. A brief summary of his account that appeared in Sai Leela magazine is given here. Tatya Sahib was sub-judge at Pandarpur in 1909 when Nana Sahib Chandorkar was Mamlatdar there. Both met often and exchanged talks. Tatya Sahib did not believe in saints while Nana Sahib loved them. Nana Sahib often told him the Leelas of Sai Baba and pressed him to go to Shirdi and see Sai Baba. He finally agreed to go to Shirdi on 2 conditions. Number 1, he must get a Brahmin cook. Number 2, get good Nagpur oranges for the presentation. Both these conditions were providently fulfilled. A Brahmin came to Nana Sahib for service and he was sent to Tatya Sahib, and a fruit parcel containing 100 beautiful oranges was received by Tata Sahib, and consignor being not known. As conditions were fulfilled, Tatya Sahib had to go to Shirdi. At first, Baba was enraged with him, but by Tatya Sahib got such experiences that he got convinced that Baba was God incarnate. So he was enamored of Baba and staying there till his death. As his end was approaching, sacred literature was read out to him, and at the last hour, Baba's Padatit was brought and given him for drinking. Baba, on hearing of his death, said, "Oh, Tatya went ahead of us. He won't be reborn." Let us go to Megha story. The story of Megha has already been discussed in chapter 28. When Megha died, all the villagers followed the funeral procession. Baba also accompanied them and showered flowers on Megha's body. After the obsequies were performed, tears flowed from Baba's eyes, and like an ordinary mortal, Baba showed himself overcome with grief and sorrow. Then, covering the body with flowers and crying like a real near relation, Baba turned to the masjid. Many saints have been seen giving sadgati to men, but Baba's greatness is unique. Even a cruel animal like a tiger came to Baba's feet for being saved. It is this story which will be narrated now. Let us go to the tiger story number 5. 7 days before Baba passed away, a wonderful incident occurred at Shirdi. There came a country cart and stopped in front of the masjid. The tiger was on the cart, fastened with iron chains with its fierce face turned to the rear. It was suffering from some pain or agony. Its keepers, three dervishis, were taking it from place to place and making money by exhibiting it. It was the means of their subsistence. They all tried all sorts of remedies to cure it from the malady it was suffering from, but all was vain. They heard that Baba's fame and came to him with the animal. They got it down the chains in their hands and made it stand at the door. It was naturally fierce, besides disease ridden, so it was restless. The people began to look at it with fear and amazement. The dervishes went in, told Baba everything about the animal, and with his consent brought it before him. As it approached the steps, it was taken aback on account of the luster of Baba and hung its head down. When both saw each other, it got a step and looked at Baba's with affection. Immediately, it moved the tuft of its tail and dashed it thrice against the ground, and it fell down senseless. On seeing it dead, the Devarshis were much dejected and full of sorrow, but on mature thought, they came to their senses. They considered this animal was deceased and nearing its end. It was very meritorious on his part that it should meet its death at the feet and in the presence of Baba. It was their debtor, and when the debt was paid off, it was free and met its end at Sai's feet. When any creatures bow down their heads at saints' feet and meet death, they are saved, and unless they've got a good store of merit on their account, how could they get such a happy end? Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all. Meet you with the 32nd chapter next week. Om Sri Sai Ram.